يمكنك التواصل مع المجتمعات المتنوعة والجماهير المستهدفة في المناطق ديل.
مشاركة المجتمع. الشراكة مع راديو بتعني التعامل مع مجتمعات على مستوى الشعبي. رسالتك حتوصل للمستمعين في مواقع مختلف، مما يعزز التفاعلات الهاتفة ويزيد الوعي بعلامة تجارية.
التغطية الشاملة مع محطات في مواقع استراتيجية زي الرنج، ملكال وباليت. بتوفر آي راديو تغطية شاملة بتصل إلى كل من المراكز الحضرية والمناطق الريفية. بتضمن شراكتك مع آي راديو الرؤية عبر منطقة جغرافية واسعة.
ما تفوت فرصة توسيع نطاق رسالتك باستخدام آي راديو. شارك أو أعلن معنا الليلة وخلي صوتك مسموع في جميع أنحاء جنوب السودان.
Attention! Cholera is a dangerous disease. It can kill within 3 to 4 hours if not treated. But here is the good news. The oral cholera vaccine is now available to protect you and your family. The oral cholera vaccine is safe and free. Everyone from 1 year and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, can receive the oral cholera vaccine. However, do not give oral cholera vaccine to persons who are sick or have cholera and children below 1 year. The vaccine is given orally in the mouth and it's usually in 2 dosage, dose 1 and 2, to strengthen your immune against cholera. The second dose is given between 2 weeks and 6 months after the first dose. With 1 dose, you are protected for up to 6 months, and with 2 doses, you are protected for up to 3 years. The oral cholera vaccine protects you from severe cholera symptoms and reduces the spread of cholera in the community. Do not miss to be vaccinated during the oral cholera vaccination campaign happening in your area. Remember, even after getting vaccinated, it's important to continue practicing good hygiene and sanitation. Always treat your drinking water to make it safe. Use a toilet. Never defecate in an open. Wash your hands with clean water and soap, especially before eating and after using the toilet. And if you or anyone you know shows signs of cholera, seek immediate treatment. If you or anyone of your family member or community is experiencing cholera signs and symptoms, report immediately to your nearest health facility, health worker, or community leader for medical assistance. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health or call our toll-free number 6666. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from WHO, UNICEF, and partners.
The Dawn on iRadio.
Yes, a very good morning to you and welcome to the second hour of the Dawn program here on iRadio, a live broadcast from the capital, Juba. My name is Emmanuel Joseph Akile and it's Thursday, the 3rd of July 2025, 16 minutes now after the hour of 7. Now, we are left with few days to the commemoration of the 14th anniversary of South Sudan independence. And the country was proclaimed independent on July 9th, 2011, becoming the world's newest nation after decades of civil wars fought between the north and south of Sudan. Now, tens of thousands poured into the streets of Juba City and other towns on a Saturday morning of that day while hoisting flags and chanting freedom. But then following a nationwide instability that started in 2013 and ended in 2018, many cities in the country, including the capital Juba, have continued to mark the independence anniversary in silence. Now, in January 2011, then Southern Sudan voted for independence through a referendum. Now, although Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir acknowledged this result, the road to independence was met with unresolved issues of sharing oil revenues, defining disputes borders, and also deliberating citizenship laws. Moreover, South Sudan continued to suffer from challenges of severe underdevelopment, poor governance, and persistent ethnic divisions. However, South Sudan gained independence on July 9, 2011. Now, to shed more light on that ahead of the independence, I'm joined live in the studio by Sarah Nyanath, civil society activist and the executive director for Gender Equality South Sudan organization. It's good to have you with us in the studio this morning. Welcome, Nyanath.
Thank you. And just to make correction of my organization is Gender Empowerment for South Sudan Organization.
Yes, gender empowerment, yes. Now, as South Sudan marks 14 years of independence, how do you reflect on that historic moment in 2011 and then the journey since then?
Reflecting back, that day of the 9th of July, if one has to look back, really I remember that day before the announcement in the morning. In the night we went around Juba with our cars, you know.
You were here?
I was here. And I was pregnant by then, my son Elijah, which then the speaker of the Cubans named him, he should be called, if he's boy, it will be called Fidel. Because when they came, they... we have a small gathering with them, with these children that went to Cuba. So, and in the night we were going around, we were being poured water, some alcohol, who knows anything else in between. Because as you were going, those side of High Malakal, and as you come back to Freedom Square, you find, people couldn't believe, and especially someone like me, I couldn't believe as a child that was born in refugee camp, and subsequent being a Red Army, a child, and that this has to come a reality. I broke down, I cried, and the day when they were lifting the flag, because the whole night I did not sleep, we were going around there, and by then I was already 8 months pregnant. I remember, I think even I got injured. I think even I'm still living with that injury today. Because as we were, I think the car didn't know that it was reaching, and it was then causing an accident around High Malakai. I think that is why I was not forgetting. And so the morning I couldn't go to, because I could see the crowd. But I felt like, yes, all my energy was exhausted, and the best thing is for me to watch it on the television. But still, my tears of joy continue to flow. This is because I know we used to have this slogan when we were in the liberation struggle, where we say that we will have a prosperous South Sudan, a South Sudan of equality, that has got democracy, all those slogans, Indo Hadala, Indo Horia, Indo, all those things. And I even remember, our songs when our young men has to sing now, the liberators, where they have to say that in Dinka, when the Dinka spear late, yaga boja lalade, or say le sugri a changa marde. So say that when the wife of SPLA will be married, meaning that when we succeeded and score, that the wife of SPLA will be build her story building. She will go to the market with her own car, driving her own car. She will wear her own jersey, the type of clothes, the quality type by then, and she will have to cook with her own sufria, the metal one, not the clay pots, because this will associate with development, associated with the modern world. So we will no longer be the marginalized, the very humble people of South Sudan and any other peripheries of Sudan which are not within Khartoum and the pattern north that was selected by the ruling bodies, to marginalize those that they choose to marginalize. So for me, really, I was just seeing not just the mask of the land, because already South Sudan land is there. Juba still remain in Juba, but what makes South Sudan as a nation now is not like God has created another new land for us to learn in, but it is the opportunities that this, the Emancipation Proclamation brought about for us, that we are here free and free indeed. The marginalized people, then we are no longer these marginalized people. We have the freedom now to participate. This is what the slogan of the struggle brought about, that we have to be equal. Akile and Sarah, what make you a man, what make me a woman, shouldn't be the one that hold us back. Right. You being educated, me being not educated, shouldn't be the reason why. You being tall or I being short, it shouldn't be the issue. You being fat or being thin, it shouldn't be. You being young or, it shouldn't be the issue. We should have this, equality ground for us to play. If you remain behind, you remain behind because of your choice. As an individual, because you could choose to be sleeping and do nothing, and nobody can force you, because that is your choice, isn't it? Right. So that ground is what the emancipation brought for us. So, and I felt that day, declaring that we as women as well voted, and because the ballot, the referendum. Culminated, the last decision, that said now we have to give birth to this country, and this country has to be a nation of its own. And the role of women, as all we say that women are more than 50% of the population. You see, we may have been playing a more lesser significant, in people's mind and attitude, but the ballot box rang louder, and therefore, as a liberator, who might have played the more minor role, but in the last decision, we play a major role as a woman. I voted, my women voted. I could see also the day of referendum when people were voting that day, women didn't sleep. And then also those who were having the alcohol to be thrown are women, or making sure that the whole thing look colorful. You go to the Freedom Square, those that were dancing all their energy out are women, because they know and they understand the meaning what this independence bring to us. Right.
And Sarah, in brief, how would you describe the day-to-day life during the liberation struggle and now at present as an independent country?
I'm telling you.
There was unity, there was peaceful coexistence, there was no division.
It is real. It is real.
What happened to us?
It is real. It is just so painful that...
I understand. And it is something that me personally, I was a young boy, or maybe I was not even born during the time. But sometimes when I look at the videos of liberators, when I see them, especially their speeches, and I see how the perseverance and the strength that they had, I was saying how I wish I was alive at that time when I would not hesitate really to join them, because I saw the cause and I was really feeling the importance of and the commitment they really had. Now
it is real. I have to say, just it is real. What we are going through today is real. It's, sometimes one would say, why shouldn't it be just a bad dream? You have those bad dreams.
Yes.
But we are really living what we did not expect. It cannot be anybody that has been in the liberation, even those who did not hold the guns, but those who might have played their other roles, like logistics, hosting, caring for the wounded, making their madida and all these things. If you have been in those, and what we used to hate then, because there was a lifestyle that we hated then as a South Sudanese, that we did not like to be in that status, or social status. We did not like it. But even what we have gone through now has actually become worse even than what we hate. So what would you feel as somebody who has really committed all your youth then, all your life then, all your wealth then? So if I tell you today, as Sarah, I can call people that I know, maybe the other day they were very humble, when we were in that other status, but today even cannot even pick your phone because they think that you are too low to be answered.
Or you're calling to ask for something.
Of course, you have to ask for something. You don't, like for me, sometimes I was talking to my young sister last week. and I was telling her, my dear, it sometimes I'd break, especially like the family where we come from. We are the host of the SPLA. It was started from no name to a name in my own father's luck and my own mom's house. So I've seen it from it being nothing into something. Really, it hurt. And at that time, you know, in our status then, I could say I come from a first-class family. Because you could see the resources my father did from his own sweat, not what we talked about corruption. Even the terminology for corruption, I think we just learned in, you know, in 90s, not even in 80s. We used to have the word bourgeois, but not corruption. Corruption came in, and now it's even more sung. It wasn't. At that time, men and women, they work, you know, things from their own sweat. And my father, you know, nobody today we fear whether we go in the village or in a city where we would say that our dad, our moms, they are associated with anything that could harm us in any way. We were host. We are a family, you know, those kind of family that host people. Our family is, I said sometimes when I feel like my family was like Abraham family, when he has, you know, people who come around. If you see, we cook. Because these are the big sufrias, they you know, where you can find 100 you know, kilo kind of sufria, you cook big things. We didn't have them. We resort into, you know, our traditional clay pot sometimes, the big one that they make alcohol with it, to cook food. And even out of this food, sometimes we children, we don't have access to it because of people that we are hosting. South Sudanese of their different colors and their different background and different regions. My father showed it because he has 4 wives. Out of his 4 wives, 3 are nuns. Nuer. He's a Nuer, but the first one is a Shuluk, the second one is a Dinka, and the third one is a Nanyuak. So my family really do not even understand this tribalism thing. Because when our uncles come, they just come as our uncle, our maternal uncles, and we love them dearly, and they love us dearly, and they are treated with all the respect. South Sudanese love themselves. If you find most of these leaders then during the Sudan government, a South Sudanese marry anywhere and live anywhere. I remember one of the journalists. I just came to know like about 3 years ago that he wasn't with. All this long I thought he's an Equatorian. I think he's working with Mirai FM. I always know him as an Equatorian, but no, he is a pure Nuer, complete Nuer. But because you know, but because the family, the father came and lived in Equatoria, married in Equatoria, they live. You know, if you look at Mariel Benjamin, for example, he's a Nuer. Other people are now learning to know that is a Nuer, and especially when, you know, these tribalism things begin. People used to think that he's a Dinka from Rumbek, and his siblings, but he's a Nuer from Low Nuer, because by then you can choose, Akile can choose to go in my village in Wudir or Chodbora, you know, and we live there, we have no problem as South Sudanese. We have this, you know, this love that has got no any kilo to measure, or even meters to measure. We had, and without that love, we could have not have the liberation struggle.
And tribe was not an issue really. People
it was
were just
never.
all, you know, being.
It was never. You could come and, you know, proudly say, I'm a Bari, and people should not raise antenna. You can say, I am a Dinka. You know, you are proud of where you come because of what you are bringing on the table is something positive. I could come and say, I'm a Nuer, and it is, and you know, even if somebody like this Nuer, you know, we could say it, and with love, because we did not have any other evil intention. When we were in the liberation struggle, you find that you are wounded. Those who will carry you are not your tribesmen, are your comrades. A comrade today that has been looked at as something, but that is a title that we all, you know, that had a lot of value of the more than 2 million that have died. They know this, you know, title called comrade. That as if I call you comrade, this mean is coming from the heart. I can't hurt you as my comrade.
It's a real someone who has been with you and stood by your side.
It is more than this. What your excellency,
Honorable,
these horrible things that they call people. Even sometimes somebody say to, honorable, I just hear it.
So say my name is Honorable X and X and X, as if honorable is
disease. It is just some disease.
Yes.
And therefore for us, you know, we with this unity. Even when we were fighting a very powerful government of Sudan, which has got connection with the Arab world and the outside world, you know, and with all the resources, the will of the people of South Sudan and the marginalized areas of Sudan, such as southern Blue Nile, the Nuba Mountain, and in the last minute now, those of Darfur were joining in. And they were not joining in initially because they thought, these losers are not going to win.
Right.
But the will, because we said we do not want this, you know.
Right.
We do not want it.
Now let's come to the reality here, Saranyanath, as we talk about the countdown to the anniversary. Now, over the years, the government has made several promises, ranging from improving citizens' livelihoods to strengthening the economy, having peace, security, among many others. So in your view, has the government delivered on those commitments?
Of course not. Let's not lie to ourselves. How do government deliver when the outcomes are the opposite? Because you have, you know, the measurements that you can say, okay, this is the indicators. What are the indicators telling us? What are our indicators? Are the indicators showing that we are improving or we are getting worse? Okay? Our dollar, our pound, against dollar, is speaking even louder without even anybody mentioning anything. We will just say, okay, let's say like the 2018 peace agreement that was, because now we resort to killing ourselves, to reduce ourselves.
IMF recently ranked us as the poorest country in the world based on the GDP, with all the resources we have.
So we see that when the peace was signed in 2018, that okay, the leaders they pledged in the preamble that this senseless war, which is true, they say the true things. It is senseless because what is it that we want to achieve? What is it? Huh? If it is it is within our power as leaders to to manage, to control, to allocate. Even if I say that I want to allocate myself, half of the, if they say that as leaders, we are taking half of the national resources, let us, we will consume it for whatever we want to use, but half of it, let it go to you, the people. Or let us, because, but what is it exactly? What is it? Because are we turning ourselves because we want to divide South Sudan into 10 state countries? Into 10 countries, or what is it? What is it? I mean, when I ask what is it exactly, so you will end up by saying, okay, the whole point is that there are no services being delivered and everybody's not, reaching, accessing what has been the proclamations of, that equality, that participation, that democracy, that prosperity. Because if I get angry, I'm hunger, the hunger is beating me and my children. Do you think I will come and smile with you when I think that this hunger is associated with you?
Definitely no.
No. Okay? So why are we not addressing? So then, and these are the key, the key reason why even we are here as South Sudan. As I said it earlier, that when we say it South Sudan, it's not because that a chunk of land of Juba was to be brought anew, or this piece of land that today is map of South Sudan was a new land. No, it is the land that was there. So what is it that we did not like from Khartoum? Was because access to services. Okay,
injustices
and
also.
Injustices, yeah, because where does the injustice come? It's because the services are not coming to me. For example, somebody is denying something that will cost me. Not. For example, I need to access education. Maybe I need to access health, and you are preventing this. You are preventing this accessibility. You are not availing it when I know it is my right. So this is by itself, lack of services give birth to what? Injustice, isn't it? So the injustice will not come out of blue. Is when the basic needs are not being met. This is where the injustices come. So it's the product of lack of service delivery.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Now you're not looking back with all these promises of having a better South Sudan. What do you believe went wrong really, or hindered the realization of those promises that were made during the liberation struggle. Because I remember one of the speeches of late Dr. John. He said, once we become independent, if we solely rely on oil, definitely corruption is going to take over. This is what he actually said. And he was, the plan or the vision of the SPLM was actually to use the oil revenue as an engine to strengthen agriculture. We should heavily rely on having mechanized kind of agriculture, but now we're heavily relying on one source of revenue. And it made us kind of lazy in terms of neglecting other factors, or let's say other ways of generating more income. And oil is just one of the resources we have, but we have many of them.
By the way, sometimes we keep on trading blames here and there, but I could put the first blame on us, the liberators. In that, like if you marry, let look at our culture. When a man marries, he's expected to manage this family, not the woman that he marries. Okay, let me just use this as an example to explain this. I would say that it is us, the liberators, because as liberators, we were the one who signed the CPA. So it was the absolute power within our reach, in as much as we would as well accommodate our brothers and sisters, Southern Sudanese brothers and sisters, politicians, army, in all other sectors, to bring them on board. Still, we should have been, careful to watch so that, we know what we were fighting for. We did not put, protective measures in place, to safeguard that this thing should not go the wrong way. We just trust every South Sudanese equally, when it should not have been the case. Because one, we were having then, those South Sudanese who do not believe in, separation. They believe in one Sudan. Okay, one. We have the South Sudanese who feel, well, if these guys are, going to be left like that, we do not, relate with the liberation struggle. We will always be reminded that, you see. So there are so many different agendas, and these different agendas, I don't think that up to even this very moment, there has been, protective measures that are trying to address. If I tell you today, the worst affected are the liberators. The worst are liberators and their communities that were there in the south. Go and Bill Farm Road and you see somebody who has been in service of arms since '85, walking. You might find them coming all from Sherka Gumbo. No transport. I've seen this because also sometimes I live on those sides. Sometimes I even give them lift. It is very hard. I would just keep quiet because I know what it is. There are certain situations where you cannot explain. So I say that the first blame goes to them. Even if you go to the oil companies today, because by then, those who are in Khartoum, they are the one who might have known, how the games of government management, they are the one who knows it. And then, of course, that trust, our sisters and brothers who were then in the government, they not want now, I don't know why have they chosen this, and instead of them to show us that, well, you have done, this other part, okay, let us now come in to deliver, even the biggest, to make our life even much better. It is not the case. It is not the case. I was telling somebody that the next time, because I was a minister in Upper Nile for nearly 4 years, and in my time, I was putting all my energy to think that one day maybe they will recognize the ministers that are trying to deliver, and recognize them, and maybe there will be a courtesy, there will be a medal. Like I was happy that an organization such as SEPO did it for governors, recognizing those who were less performing. I was putting all my energy to think that to think that they will say this minister, she was actually performing. And if I tell you,
she deserves an award.
Yes, if I tell you during my time is when actually today and the senior South Sudan artists, they can tell you the first time they were hosted was in Upper Nile, and it was my work. If you would also see
Minister of what?
Minister of Social Development. Okay. So the youth and sport were under me, culture was under me, religious affair was under me. My time.
That was after the independence.
Before independence. Before independence. So it was before independence. It was my ministry that also encourages the sport. Even it was Upper Nile State that were having the membership in Sudan's athletics union. It was my time that actually sport, football teams were, were like getting us into Sudan up to the third level is when my team went and, was getting there. Unless there is a record to this.
Right.
And I felt like maybe this would have been. But even out of that, because don't forget that the percentage for the NCP was in Upper Nile. So we were really in the front line. My estate was in front line. Okay, because it was given to Bashir team. Out of all this, I was expecting, this is what I sometimes think, our brothers and sisters that work in Sudan then should have come with this clean heart of saying, even this one which are very hungry, we know, when you are coming hungry, if you starve and food is brought before you, how do you eat? Do you eat it slowly?
Of course.
Would you mind of other people? You will just like...
You become greedy even.
And we were coming as people who have been starved. So seeing this thing, and that is when actually they saw, this is their weakness.
So
and everybody wants
to share the experience and the knowledge.
And instead of saying, look, what do you do if you have got a cow? You don't just cut the udder. That you take away the milk. You milk the cow and you leave it so that it continues. And so what we do is that we begin to take our money outside, and as you can see, where does the World Bank and IMF get our money to freeze our money? Isn't it because we have went and banked them outside in millions of dollars? These millions of dollars, if they are at home, okay, if they are at home, our bank will be rich. And our bank will be like, if you come today and any other person with a business idea, they will take loans.
Right.
This is how a nation prosper. This is our nation, because not all of us can be in the government. It is wrong. What we need government for is to put policies in place and guidelines in place that enable the game of everybody to play.
Provide a conducive environment.
Conducive environment for everybody to thrive, to live, to enjoy the life while they are like that.
Right.
So the problem is that we as liberators, we came and we let it go. We did not put in place, protective. And today, and of course, when they come say, you're sciatic, sciatic, those sweet words. For us, I said if we were to be dogs, our tail will be like wick, 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 wick. I'm sorry to use this, but this is like we feel now. This was not. And even nowadays, we do not call any more comrades. You find it among very few, Because if you call somebody comrade, it's just like you are associating them with that suffering.
Or with the liberation.
With that liberation, that suffering. And now the name of liberation become ugly. When you said you are liberators, even liberators are hiding. I said I will never hide. I will never, because that is my past. That is what made me who I am today.
And it's what actually, the contribution that brought this country.
And that is, yes. You can't be condemning the 2.5 million and be saying that this is a crime by itself.
Right.
It's a crime by itself to be saying these people. What do you mean by these people?
Yes, what do you mean? Let's now pick few calls on 0911 or 22986986. Remember, we're also live on our Facebook page. You can also drop your comments there. We are talking about reflecting on the past before the anniversary of the 14 years of South Sudan independence. Our guest in the studio is activist Sarah Nyanath, Radio.
Radio, Emmanuel, Joseph Akile.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, your name, where are you calling from?
I'm Samuel from Geda.
Samuel from Guyana, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very delighted for the Honorable Minister, Sarah Clinton, to be there.
This is Sarah Janath.
So I was...
Yes, Samuel.
So I was asking the Honorable Minister that why is it that if you go in the hospital fight, you don't usually get the drug when you are asking somebody to rescue his or her life in the hospital. And people are making it as
Samuel.
You don't get...
Hello, Samuel.
Hello.
This is not the Minister of Health in the studio. She's an activist, Sarah Janath. We're talking about the independence of South Sudan, reflecting on the liberation struggle, what went wrong, and how can we move forward as a country ahead of the independence.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I think you got us wrong. Radio.
Emmanuel, Joseph Akile, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is me, Joseph from Muniki.
Joseph from Muniki.
Yeah, let me give regard to Comrade Sarah Janath, Elijah Yonkir.
Yes, comrade, now.
I greet her in the name of Comrade because he's among the liberators.
Yeah.
I will recognize her in that title because we were been in that title, and now we are to do things like now the activist. And I remember her one day. There is a day 22 December 2009. We did things with her. We go for demonstrations in Malacan for demanding self-determination.
Thank you.
I think you know that day.
Yes.
We were among us with Commander Doc.
Yes.
And those of John Kodeu.
Yes.
And those of Galwarli Bot.
Yes.
Those of Tukargok.
Yeah.
And those of Kwela Gorekwel. So I was among you that day. And we were demanding this country to be independent.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to hear your voice today. Also, he was the deputy chairman of this parliament, that is it. And he were independent candidate for governorship. You mentioned those titles, sister.
All right.
For 2010 election. To come to this point of his speech today, I'm very happy with it because what he mentioned is what is in my heart. When I go to the Dean Farm Road or what so-called news site, you get all the SPLA men are there, and they are supposed to be seen by the leaders. Go there to see them in Gera, what is their welfare. Because even the song that she sing a song about in Dinka, that song is contained developmental. Because when you saying wife of SPLA is being married and she will be in building, the tall building being built. So it is not only the SPLA, or it is SPLA by then, but it is also done when you see it.
Yeah.
So all these things, they were being remembered and their ideology of that time, but they are not happening today. What can we do as a South Sudanese, because our mission of that time has changed to different things? What are we waiting for? You mentioned about the situation of South Sudanese hope, because now people are lose hope. What can people wait for it? As a activist, as a South Sudanese woman, as somebody who was a leader, and maybe you will be leader for the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joseph. Radio.
Emmanuel Joseph Akile. أنا
كشوك welcome.
أنا باي ضيفنا في الاستديو. إيمانويل وضيفنا في الاستديو احتفال دلوقتي ل 14 سنة بين انفصال من السودان. فمن السودان قبل ما انفصلنا برضه كان لنا انفصال 51 بعد انفصلنا بعد 4 سنوات مباشرة بقى في مشاريع حيوية في السودان زي مشروع الجنيد 1960. في مشاريع ثانيين قام به الحكومة السودانية. لماذا لم يقوم حكومتنا تم تحريرنا من قبضة السودان وطلعنا بقينا الدولة، بقينا عندنا 14 سنة ما عندنا مشاريع حيوية زي الكهرباء، ممكن يكون عندنا خزان، عندنا كبار، عندنا طرق وجسور، عندنا أمن مستتب، عندنا 81 زي ما هو. نحن نعضلنا إنه يكون في تحسين أو برضه في مساواة أو في عدالة. لسه الحالة المشاريع دي عزيزة في الاستديو، المشاريع دي أصلا ما اتحققت، كل وقعنا في الفقد بتاع القبلية والمشاكل وما في استقرار في جنوب السودان. شكرا.
alright شكرا لك اي راديو. alright شكرا لك. نرفع مكالمة ثانية بكل اختصار قبل ما نرجع لضيفنا في الاستديو. Kashog was asking, after the independence of the Sudan back then, 1956, there were mega projects, and you can see them a few years immediately after the independence. Why? What's wrong with us? Why don't we now have? It's 14 years now, no mega projects. We don't have dams, bridges, good infrastructure in place, developmental projects. That was actually envisioned by the SPLM during the liberation. Radio.
Now, since he knows about the background about liberation and
hello, your name.
Days we are done. What makes us now to be divided like if?
What is your name?
I'm called Gabriel from POC.
Gabriel from POC. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. What I'm saying is that I appreciate the president of Saranyanazio. He's our outspoken person who's supposed actually to be in that activist position, and actually we need such kind of people. Because, brave people always help people. I would like to say, my question is this. During the liberation days, we are one, and actually we are united, and that's why we managed to obtain our independence. But after gaining our independence, we are seriously divided, and we are on the tribal lines. What makes us to be like that? And do we think, in that manner, if we continue to be this country will be good for us? And if we are divided, do we think we are going to be strong?
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Gabriel Nyanat. I have a number of questions. You'll have to put them together in about 4 or 5 minutes before we can wind up. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I thank Samuel, who then thought that I was the Minister of Health. I also thank Joseph and Kachok, yeah. And then Gabriel. Just to put all these answers together, starting with Samuel, I can see his concern about appalling situation in the health service. This is not just only in health service. We have to be realistic. When you accept your shortcoming, when you realize the problem, that is when you will try to find a solution for it. If we can deceive ourselves that we are okay, for the sake of just saying okay, but the realities are there. We are dying, with disease that should not kill us anymore. When our children are performing, universities are not even discovering anything, we know that there is a problem. Now, and this is the problem we are trying to talk about today, as we are about to commemorate the 14th celebrated the 14th Independent Day. But then the other question would have been like, things that we have done in the past, how we have been active. Joseph brought this thing up, how we have been active previously so that we make some demands. Yeah, when we make demands even to Sudan, the Khartoum government, we made demands and the government of Sudan give us that free space. If I tell you today the unfortunate thing, we are even worse than, I'm sorry to say this, but that is the reality. We are even worse than the Sudan government today. We as civil society, we cannot go on the street and conduct rallies. Rallies are prevented. We are in the state of emergency where you cannot assemble. I don't know how many thousands cannot or how many hundreds cannot assemble together. Nowadays, if you were to come together, you need to go through a paperwork that will be nearly, even meetings, leave alone even these rallies, something that we did not experience.
The issue of civic and civic space.
Space has shrunk completely. So that is one thing that Joseph, someone like me who will take pleasure to say, let's speak out, because how do our government improve? it performance is by it improve for who? That is the question. How does the government improve, and improve for who? It improve for us. And therefore, what we need is us to tell the government, look, we as people of South Sudan, we want this. We can either have a case to bring to assembly, or go on the street and make some certain demands, and then the government, what the government will always do, a normal government would do, is to say, okay, look, there is this group of women, or there is this group of youth, or there is this group of farmers that their demand is this. Then the concern in institution, maybe the ministry, has to be addressed, and then they can now address the situation. But this space is no longer there. You will be shot with a live bullet, just like our minister, honorable minister, Michael Makwe said that we have no tear gas here, we have only live bullet. So who want to be tested on live bullet? Nobody. Then Kachok talk about the programs. Yes, during the Sudan independence, don't forget that these are two different kind of liberations or independence. Our independence of Sudan did not go through a liberation like such as ours. Okay. And that time also it came, a different master with a different mind, unlike our case. There was different leadership then that was being handed over, the leadership and the current one. But then the other issue was like, it is not bad for us. I mentioned earlier that I could put the first blame to us, the liberators, who did not pay, attention to where. Because, for example, how do I expect you to inject somebody, with a medicine that I did not tell you which medicine you are supposed to inject, even if you know how to inject. For example, the movement has got programs. We have got the manifesto. And this manifesto inform what are this, that why we needed. Those who were given certain assignment in certain positions were not given orientation. How do you expect somebody, go through this? And I have that feeling, because if I don't have the emotions, I don't have that love, how do you expect me to act? Of course, I will just see this is an accommodation, and I will do, even me as Sarah, I will just do as I wish, because it looked like, okay, there is no anything to follow up.
Right. I think we have to apologize to Gabriel Saranyanat because of time. Maybe we will have to bring you again in the studio to continue. Yes, a few seconds now. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. For Gabriel, the unity of South Sudanese that you have asked about is, I will not be able to answer as Sarah. But it is something that we all, including you, I, Akile, and the rest, are there to make sure that we as South Sudanese need to find our peace, that unity have to reclaim. We cannot depend on IGAD, on Troika, on the rest. We need to begin to look home. Because it is our own peace. Our unity is our power.
All right. Our unity is our power. Thank you very much, activist Saranyanat, for joining us on the Dawn today. And that brings us to the end of it. This is part of the extensive coverage ahead of the commemoration of the 14th anniversary of South Sudan independence. On behalf of the Dawn team, my name is Emmanuel Joseph Akile. And up next, news in Arabic.
مباشر من جوبا على الهواء وعلى الإنترنت.
ده آي راديو، عينك على جنوب السودان.
صباح الخير، اهلا ومرحبا بك مستمع اي راديو. ده زمن نشر اخبار وبنبدا بالعناوين. ناشد المدير التنفيذي لمنظمة المجتمع للتقدم سيبو إدمون ياكاني الرئيس الفكير بضرورة معالجة القضايا الوطنية الأساسية خلال خطاب الاستغلال المقبل في 9 من يوليو. وواصل السكرتير التنفيذي للحياة الحكومية الإقليمية المعنية بالتنمية أو الإيجاد الدكتور وركني قبويحي إلى جوبا في زيارة رسمية لمدة يومين لتقييم تنفيذ اتفاقية السلام المنشطة لسنة 2018. وانتقد اقتصادي الحملة التي أعلن عنها مؤخرا حيث الإيرادات في جنوب السودان المتعلقة بتسجيل دافع الضرائب من بيت إلى بيت في جوبا. إلى تفاصيل النشرة وفي تقديمه أوباج أوكوتشاغاوم. ناشد المدير التنفيذي لمنظمة تمكين المجتمع من التقدم أو سيبو إدمون ياكاني الرئيس الفكير بضرورة معالجة القضايا الوطنية الرئيسية خلال الخطاب للاستقلال المقبل في 9 من يوليو. وفي تصريح لإذاعة آي راديو رحب ياكاني بعودة الرئيس كير للبلاد بعد زيارة رسمية استغرقت 10 أيام إلى دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة. وما يقترب الذكرى 14 لاستقلال جنوب السودان دا ياكاني الرئيس للإعلان عن إعادة فتح البرلمان القومي والذي تأخر لوقت طويل وإعطاء أولوية للأجندة التشريعية العالقة منذ فترة، وتشمل هذه الأجندات مشروع قانون حقوق الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة ومشروع قانون العنف القائم على النوع الاجتماعي ومشروع قانون الأسرة. وأكد ياكاني أن هذه القوانين ضرورية لحماية الفئات الضعيفة وتعزيز العدالة. كما أدى الرئيس الالتزام بتنفيذ خطط العمل الوطنية الشاملة من أجل السلام والإصلاح. وأعرب ياكاني أن قلقوا من العملية الانتخابية المقبلة مشددا على ضرورة إصدار التقويم الانتخابي في الوقت المناسب وتوفير تمويل كافي ومستقر للمفوضية الوطنية للانتخابات وتحقيق تقدم في عملية وضع الدستور واستكمال التعداد السكاني. وعدا أيضا إلى توحيد القوات المسلحة باعتباره أساسا لعملية انتخابية سلمية وذات مصداقية. واختتم ياكاني حديثه بدعوة الرئيس كير للبناء الإرث الوطني وتقديم رسالة وحدة وتقدم في خطاب عيد الاستقلال 14. وصل السكرتير التنفيذي للحي الحكومية الإقليمية المعنية بالتنمية أو الإيجاد الدكتور وركني جبويحي إلى جوبا في زيارة رسمية تستمر لمدة يومين لتقييم تنفيذ اتفاق السلام منشطة لسنة 2018. وعقب وصوله يوم أمس بدأ الدكتور وركني نشاطه باللقاء مع وزير الخارجية والتعاون الدولي في جنوب السودان السفير ماندي سيمايا كومبا. وبعد ذلك عقد اجتماعا مع اللجنة التنفيذية الوطنية العليا المسؤولة عن متابعة تنفيذ اتفاق السلام المنشط. وتأتي زيارة الدكتور وركني في وقت تتزايد فيه المخاوف المحلية والدولية بشأن التأخير في تنفيذ بنود رئيسية من الاتفاقية بما في ذلك توحيد القوات والإصلاحات الدستورية والاستعدادات للانتخابات الوطنية. وقبل الأخبار الإقليمية والعالمية انتقد اقتصادي حملة تسجيل دافع الضرائب من بيت إلى بيت التي أعلنت عنها الحي القومية للإيرادات في جنوب السودان وتنفذ حاليا في جوبا. وبحسب الهيئة فإن عملية التسجيل تشمل زيارة جميع البيوت وتسجيل أصحاب المحلات ومقدمي الخدمات وكل من يعمل لحسابه الخاص في العاصمة. وقالت الهيئة أن الهدف من الحملة هو إعداد قاعدة بيانات كاملة ومحدثة لدفع الضرائب ودعم نظام ضريبي عادل وتحسين تقديم الخدمات في البلاد. ونصحت الهيئة المواطنين بعدم السماح لأي شخص بدخول منازلهم أو محلاتهم إلا إذا كان أصحر بطاقة تعريف من حيث الإيرادات تحتوي على شعار رسمي للهيئة بشكل واضح. وفي رد على الحملة قال أبراهام ماليت إن الطريقة غير صحيحة وتدخل في خصوصية الناس وليست مبررة من الناحية الاقتصادية. وأضاف أن الحملة لا تحتوي على معايير واضحة لتحديد من يجب عليهم دفع الضرائب ووصفها بأنها طريقة غير موجودة في أي مكان آخر في العالم لأنه من غير الطبيعي جمع معلومات ضريبية من الناس دون التأكد من مصدر دخلهم. ولتشجيع الناس على التسجيل الطوعي دعا عملية حيث الإيرادات إلى القيام بحملات توعية وتثقيف بدلا من زيارة البيوت. كما تساءل عن سبب تنفيذ الحملة في جوبا فقط دون بقية المدن الأخرى في البلاد واقترح أن تبدأ من مدينة صغيرة أولا لمعرفة كيف سيتفاعل الناس معها. وفي الأخبار الإقليمية والعالمية تحطمت طائرة هليكوبتر عسكرية يوغندية واشتعلت فيه النيران في مطار الدولي الرئيسي في العاصمة الصومالية مقديشو، مما أسفر عن مقتل 5 أشخاص كانوا على بدنها. ووفقا للمتحدث باسم الجيش اليوغندي اللواء فيليكس كوليجي، فقد نجا الطيار ومساعده ومحدث الطيران، لكنهم أصيبوا بجروح خطيرة وحروق بالغة، مشيرا أن التحقيق جاري لمعرفة سبب الحادث. وتعد القوات اليوغندية جزءا من قوات الاتحاد الأفريقي التي تضم 11,000 جندي، وتدعم الحكومة الصومالية في محاربة جماعة الشباب مرتبطة بتنظيم القاعدة، والتي تشن تمردا عنيفا في الصومال منذ أكثر من 20 عاما. واخيرا، عارض وزارة الصحة في غزة التي تديرها حماس مقتل مدير المستشفى الاندونوسي في غزة الدكتور مروان سلطان في قارة جوية إسرائيلية استهدفت منزله في مدينة غزة إلى جانب عدد من أفراد أسرتهم. وقالت الوزارة أن الدكتور مروان كان له تاريخ طويل في المجال الطبي، ووصفت الهجوم بأنها جريمة بشعة ضد الكوادر الطبية. من جانبها قالت القوات الإسرائيلية أنها استهدفت إرهابيا بارزا من حركة حماس في منطقة مدينة غزة، مضيفا أنها تراجع الادعاءات بشأن إصابة المدنيين غير متورطين في القارة. وبالخبر ده مستمع آي راديو انتهى نشرة الأخبار، ولكن برجع وبذكر بأبرز ما جاء في المقدمة. ناشد المدير التنفيذي لمنظمة تمكين المجتمع من التقدم سيبو إدمون الرئيس الفكير بضرورة معالجة القضايا الوطنية الأساسية خلال خطاب الاستغلال المقبل في 9 من يوليو. ووصل السكرتير التنفيذي للحي الحكومية الإقليمية المعنية بالتنمية أول إيجار الدكتور وركني قبويحي في جوبا في زيارة رسمية لمدة يومين لتقييم تنفيذ اتفاق السلام المنشطة لسنة 2018. وانتقد اقتصادي الحملة التي أعلن عنها مؤخرا حيث الإيرادات في جنوب السودان والمتعلقة بتسجيل دافع الضرائب من بيت إلى بيت في جوبا. إلى هنا مستمع آي راديو انتهى نشرة الأخبار. لو عندك أي خبر أو مناسبة أو أنت له تغطية ممكن ترسل لنا رسالة نصية رقم التالي 0925 287 870 وده نفس الرقم للواتساب. أنت ممكن تتابعنا على منصة إكس آي راديو بكلمة واحدة أو زيارة مواقعنا على الإنترنت www.iradio.org لتستمع الأخبار باللغة العربية والإنجليزية. ممكن تشارك أيضا في قناة آي راديو اليوتيوب آي راديو ساوث السودان. نيابة عن غرفة الأخبار والفريق الفني كنت معكم في تقديم النشرة أوباج أوكو الشقاو، وواصل استماع لآي راديو أنا كالا جنوب السودان. إلى اللقاء.